Hello, and welcome to Visual Thinking. My name's Michael Kiley, and this is a class I've enjoyed teaching for 24 years. The main focus of the class is on innovation thinking, expressing oneself, and doing things that will boost creative confidence. I'm sitting on one of the serpentine benches with mosaic tile created by architect Antonio Gaudí in Güell Park in Barcelona. I'd like to just share a few things about myself and then get into the content and method of visual thinking. I love to travel, and this is one of my favorite places in the world. This is the center of Lisbon, Portugal. I now spend most of my time in the high desert near Joshua Tree. I bought a small house on a large piece of property in June 2020, and previously I was in a high-rise apartment right across from the LA County Art Museum in the Miracle Mile area. So it was a huge change. I still need to stay in touch with clients and Loyola and friends in LA, and I found that the best solution for me was to buy a small sailboat, and I keep it in a local marina, and it's turned out to be a really nice second place to spend time. When I was young, I couldn't decide between architecture and art and wound up getting degrees in both fields. And my primary business is sort of between the two. I design and build furniture, architectural interiors, and gardens. I'd like to say a little bit about what the course is about. Of course, with a title like Visual Thinking, that's a bit open-ended. I see it as there's many times where it's better to use an image than words to communicate with people. And this, if you recognize it, it's the Watts Towers. If you haven't seen it, it's one of my favorite spots in LA, and it has been said to be the largest artwork ever made by a single person. Simply put, I think visual thinking is important when you need to communicate with people in an instantaneous way, especially if their mindset is more of the visual than the verbal or mathematical. If you don't think you're good at art, don't worry about it. I've had plenty of time to find ways to make things that be powerful images that all of us can make. I myself do not draw people well, but I consider myself an artist, and this is a process we'll use repeatedly: photo collage. Sometimes we do it with magazines, sometimes we do it digitally. If you stare at this rainbow mandala for a few seconds, some people will see pulsing and some won't. We're all different in the way we see things. When we went online last semester, one of the best things I did is I brought in a young artist friend for a guest visit, and we had a great time. And I thought it was also important that students get to see work made by people closer to their age than I am. This is a work of installation art by that artist, A.J. Collins. An installation is essentially where you deal with the space and incorporate painting and sculpture. That's one of the things we'll be learning more about in the class. We will do virtual visits to a number of creative people. This happens to be my cousin, James, who is a master silkscreen printer. We do a lot of making in the class, but it's specifically projects that are accessible. And I can kind of guarantee you that if you participate, you'll be surprised, even if you don't think you're artistic, at what you might come up with. Here is a photo collage of a human face made by a student from last semester. Sometimes we'll work analog with magazine scraps, sometimes digitally. One more example of a face collage made with images from magazines. In the spring, we scrambled a bit to adapt to online teaching, although I was happy that I've been teaching online for 11 years, mostly at schools other than Loyola, and I knew how good it could be. This is the same project by a different student, and I think it makes the point that in the class we're trying to get the freedom to express ourselves without conformity. And we will hopefully push the boundary of what your definition of art is. This is a portable sculpture by Erica Rothenberg, a very political artist, and basically it went from city to city, and anyone who wanted to could come up to the megaphone and shout out something they believed. Of course, this brings up the question, if you're up on top of this platform, what would you shout? What if art is focused on how you live, how you sleep, how you eat? That's the case of this artist, and this is a small piece she created in Joshua Tree. Her name is Andrea Zettel, and we'll be learning more about her. Many of the buildings we spend time in are somewhat dull, pragmatic, and unimaginative, but I don't think that's the case with an icon of Los Angeles, the Disney Concert Hall by Frank Gehry. The class encourages variety of response to a given problem. And here's an example. It's about a experience of the night illustrated as a rainbow illuminated cloud of cotton puffs. This is a space that you sit in at dusk and look through a puncture in a large canopy at the sky. The canopy changes color, but there's an illusion that the sky is actually changing color. So this is a form of art making that actually arose in Southern California called light and space art. James Turrell's become one of my favorite artists. And I actually went on a trip to the Southwest about 4 years ago to experience some of his pieces in person because the photo doesn't do it justice. So we'll be learning a lot about different new forms of art making. The same artist, James Turrell, has been developing a observation center in a crater in Arizona for the past 28 years, and one day it will open and allow people to see the night sky in new ways. So that's it for now. Look forward to meeting you on Friday and seeing you in the next few weeks. And I hope that this class is a really different and inspiring course.